In just a few minutes, we'll hear from the U.S. Army Military Academy Band from West Point as we prepare to cut a special birthday cake provided especially for the occasion by the USO and baked by Hoboken's favorite baker, the cake boss, Buddy Velastro from Carlos Bakery, in celebration of the Army's 241st anniversary of service to America.
Right up here, and no one's crossing in front of the everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, Military Island and the city of New York. Today we celebrate the 241st birthday of America's Army and recognize the proud traditions of selfless and heroic service that soldiers have provided to our nation since 1775. Our special guests include 45 of America's sons and daughters who will enlist in the United States Army in just a few minutes. But first, we ask all to rise for the arrival of the official party. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the Army's premier color guard, the Continental Color Guard from the 3rd U.S. Infantry Regiment, the Old Guard, and join the United States Military Academy Band and Master Sergeant Mary Kay Messenger from Newburgh, New York, in rendering honors to the nation with the singing of our national anthem. seated. At this time, welcome our special guests. Colonel Joseph Davidson, United States Army Garrison, Fort Hamilton Garrison Commander. And Command Sergeant Major Charles Peterson II, Command Sergeant Major, New York City Recruiting Battalion. Please welcome today's host, the 59th Superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point, Lieutenant General Robert L. Caslin, Jr. Here to represent New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio in the reading of a special proclamation celebrating the Army's 241st birthday is Commissioner of the New York City Department of Veterans Services. Please welcome Brigadier General Retired Lori K. Sutton.
General McCaslin, Team Army, Team New York City. I'm looking at a lot of FDNY and NYPD officers here today, many of them veterans, and I look around and I see so many who have gathered today to celebrate this great 241st birthday of our Army. And I look around and I see America, I see the world, because this is the capital of the world, New York City, and we are thrilled to welcome the Army here today to celebrate its 241st birthday. You know, having been privileged to serve nearly 30 years in our Army, there's not a day that goes by as your commissioner here with the new Department of Veterans Services in New York City that I don't draw upon my Army experience. There's the Army values: loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. There's the Warrior's Creed: mission first, never quit, never accept defeat, and never ever leave behind a fallen comrade. Those are values that I take with me every single day in my heart, in the work that we're privileged to do here in New York City. You know, another thing that I learned in the Army was no one gets where they're going alone. And today I'm privileged to be able to introduce to you Jamal Othman, who just 2 weeks ago joined our growing team as Assistant Commissioner for Employment, Education, and Entrepreneurship. Thanks, Jamal. Now, a little secret here, Jamal is a Marine Corps veteran, but you know, hey, we're part of the joint team as well. And,
Soldier today.
Yeah, soldier today, but go Army, beat Navy, as I think about the Army-Navy game coming up again this December. Listen, this is just really a joy. It's a joy to be here in the world's greatest city. It's also a privilege to consider all that the Army, our Army, America's Army, brings forward to our nation at this time of great need. You need look no further than the events of the last couple of days to recognize that we are in need of a strong Army. We are in need of the world's strongest police force, NYPD. We are in need of our first responders and our firefighters, FDNY. And as you listen to the sounds here in Times Square, sort of the crossroads of the world, you'll hear the sirens. Maybe it's an ambulance going to the hospital. Maybe it's the sound of one of our sanitation trucks keeping the city clean. Maybe it's the sound of a siren from NYPD. Maybe it's FDNY going after yet another emergency, fire, kitten, whatever the case may be, that makes our city so great. We are blessed. We are in this together, and I could not be more privileged to serve as your commissioner. So, without any further ado, I'd like to ask Jamal Othman to come up and give me this proclamation on behalf of Mayor Bill de Blasio. And, sir, I'd like to present this to you, General Caslin. Office of the Mayor, City of New York, proclamation. Whereas the safety and strength of New York City and our country is owed to the selfless and courageous individuals who answer the call to serve in our nation's military. As the largest branch of our armed forces, the United States Army plays a critical role in protecting and upholding the values we cherish as Americans. Ever since the Continental Army was first formed in 1775 to fight for our freedoms and democratic ideals during the Revolutionary War, our Army, America's Army, has stayed true to its mission to provide the best and most capable lines of defense for our country. In honor of its incredible legacy of service, New Yorkers are proud to join today in celebrating the Army's 241st birthday. And so, together, we affirm our commitment to celebrate our Army's proud tradition of service that gives us hope for a better and more secure tomorrow. Now, therefore, I, on behalf of Bill de Blasio, Mayor of the City of New York, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, June 14th, 2016, in the City of New York as United States Army Day. Happy birthday, Army!
Won't you join me in welcoming our host for today's presentation, the 59th Superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point, Lieutenant General Robert L. Caslen, Jr.
Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, New York City. General Sutton, thank you very much for that proclamation on behalf of the mayor. It's just certainly wonderful to be here among all of you today. So on behalf of everybody here in Times Square, behalf of all of New York City, behalf of all of the United States of America, I stand here representing the Chief of Staff of the Army, General Mark Milley, and our Secretary of the Army, Secretary Fanning, as we celebrate the 241st birthday of the United States Army. First, thanks to a terrific job to the Continental Color Guard, the Fife and Drum Corps, the Army Drill Team, the West Point Band, and to all the soldiers past and present, veterans and families here today, thank you very much for being here and thank you for your service. How about a round of applause? And a sincere special thank you to Mayor de Blasio, the New York City Council, our Police Commissioner and the New York Police Department, our Fire Commissioner and the New York Fire Department, Commissioner Sutton and the Department of Veterans Services, and of course the incredible men and women of this great city. Thank you very much for your support of the United States Army. A few weeks ago, at West Point's graduation ceremony, Vice President Biden told our graduates, he said, quote, "Whenever the stakes are the highest, we turn to the United States Army. Whether it's fighting terrorism or training our partners or reassuring our allies or providing humanitarian relief, we call on you. And right now the stakes couldn't be higher," end quote. So for 241 years, whenever those stakes have been the highest, America's Army answered the call, no matter what the time it was or where the place around the globe it was. Whether we were combating terrorism around the globe, providing deterrence in Europe, working with our allies and partners in Africa and in South America, conducting peacekeeping missions in the Sinai Peninsula and in Kosovo, assisting in a wide range of humanitarian operations, or providing security here at home, America's soldiers, the men and women of the United States Army, the Army Reserve, and the National Guard, past and present, they have answered the call of duty, always standing and always leading. America's soldiers are always ready to deploy, to fight and win in a complex world. Since our Army's founding in 1775, America's soldiers have led the way and will continue to lead in protecting our great nation every day, and they are making the world's best Army even better. In a few moments, we're going to swear in this group of men and women in the United States Army. To these future American soldiers, Today you are joining a proud legacy of selfless service as you prepare to don the cloth of our nation. You come from many walks of life with varying reasons for enlisting, but what you all share in common is the desire to serve, to be a part of something bigger than yourselves. You represent the very best of America, and today you join the generations of Americans who have stood in the gap between our nation, our Constitution, and the American people, and all that would threaten them. Today, as in past years, soldiers serve as a cornerstone of the Army profession, always ready and always leading. And that is thanks to you, the support of the American people. We are grateful for that support and the opportunity to maintain your trust and confidence while adding to the legacy of 241 strong years. Happy birthday, United States Army. Always ready, always leading. Thank you very much. Meet Navy.
On this 241st birthday of the United States Army, these 45 young men and women from the New York area, who today represent millions of America's sons and daughters who have served in America's Army, will enlist. As these soldiers execute the oath administered by General Caslin, we ask that all members of the United States Army present stand and join them in reciting the oath of enlistment. While these young people speak those words for the first time, all of us will reaffirm our commitment to the nation.
Your sister?
Yeah, that's my sister.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you take the oath of office, you join the ranks of the soldiers that have gone before you, the generations who stormed the beaches of Normandy, who have flanked the mountains of Afghanistan, who have fought deadly IEDs in the streets of Baghdad. Today, you mark yourself different from the many hundreds of thousands of your peers, but you have elected to stand in the gap between the evil that's out there that threatens America and the United States of America and our country. The world owes you a debt of gratitude, and I commend each and every one of you for today for taking this oath of office. So at this time, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies. Foreign and domestic. And that I will bear true allegiance to the same. That I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. And that I will obey the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Lower your hands. Congratulations, Army soldiers.
Pull back to the side so they can look out.
Congratulations to the newest members of the United States Army. Please be seated. Since 1941, the USO has been supporting our soldiers worldwide through programs and services that meet the ever-changing needs of America's troops and their families, always lifting their spirits and continuing to be wherever they are needed until everyone comes home. Today we give a special thanks to the USO for providing the cake for this 241st celebration of the Army, enlisting the creative culinary talents of Hoboken's favorite cake boss at Carlo's Bakery, Mr. Buddy Valastro. This special cake is escorted by soldiers from the New York City Recruiting Battalion, 1st Recruiting Brigade, located at Fort Hamilton, New York. Army traditions are bigger than any single soldier. They have existed for centuries and will continue into the future. The saber used to cut this cake is a reminder that we are a band of warriors, committed to carrying the saber so that our nation may live in peace. Traditionally, the oldest and youngest members of the unit cut the cake, symbolizing the service and sacrifice of the former generations of soldiers. Today, we are also proud to include Captain Kelly Ellinger, Army Team Captain in this year's Department of Defense Warrior Games, hosted at West Point, New York, June 16th through the 22nd. General Caslin is now joined by 2 New York City natives from the 69th Infantry Regiment of the New York Army National Guard. Representing the Army's senior soldiers is Sergeant Alexis Caceres from Bronx, New York. And representing your Army's junior soldiers is Specialist Tanner Scheibel from New Windsor, New York. At this time, the drill team commander, First Lieutenant Matthew Dagada, presents the ceremonial saber to General Caslin. We now invite you to stand and join in the singing of the official song of the United States Army. The Army goes rolling along. This 241st birthday celebration of the United States Army. And stay right here as the party continues, featuring exciting demonstrations by soldiers of the U.S. Army Drill Team, the U.S. Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps, the U.S. Military Academy Band, the U.S. Army Band Downrange, and the Big Apple's very own New York City Police Department Emerald Society Pipes and Drums.
Left flank, forward, forward. Right flank, up bells, face. Left flank, forward, forward.
The United States Military Academy Band is the Army's oldest active band, founded on the historic grounds of the United States Military Academy. The band traces its roots to fifers and drummers who were part of Continental Army units at West Point during the time of the American Revolution. Officially established on June 8, 1817, the West Point Band will celebrate its bicentennial next year. Although many changes have occurred over the years, music continues to be an aspect of daily life for the cadets and the soldiers at the Academy. Today, led by Master Sergeant Glenn West and under the direction of Colonel Andrew Esch, the West Point Band remains one of the military's finest musical organizations.